Red emergency lights flashed across the metal walls of the bridge. Commander Alex Mitchell gripped the edge of his command chair as he stared at the holographic display. His knuckles turned white. What he saw made his stomach turn. "Play it again," he said, his voice low but clear. The screen flickered. It showed the big space station named Proxima, where humans and aliens had gathered for peace talks. Suddenly, bright beams of light shot from the large warships that belonged to the Galactic Council. The peaceful meeting turned into a bloodbath in seconds. Alex ran his hand through his short brown hair. "How many dead?" Lieutenant Susan Ward looked up from her screen with tears in her eyes. "Over 500, sir. Most of them Arcturians, our best friends in the galaxy." The tall, blue-skinned Arcturians had been the first aliens to welcome humans to space 20 years ago. They had shared technology, helped build trade routes, and stood by Earth when other aliens looked down on humans as newcomers. Now their blood floated in the cold vacuum of space. "The Council ships are still there," said Officer Joe Carter from his post at the weapons station. His fingers tapped nervously on the console. "They're searching for survivors and killing them." Alex stood up and walked closer to the main screen. The Arcturian ships, once proud and beautiful, now drifted as broken shells. Among the wreckage, smaller Council ships hunted down escape pods with cruel precision. "Why would they do this?" asked Susan, her voice breaking. "We were finally making progress with the peace talks." Alex's face hardened. "Because they fear us. Humans and Arcturians together were becoming too powerful, too independent. The Council has ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years. They don't share power." The bridge door slid open with a hiss. A young officer ran in, her face pale. "Commander, Admiral Donovan is on an emergency channel for you and all Earth ships." The main screen changed to show the lined face of Admiral Richard Donovan. His gray eyes looked tired but determined. "This is Admiral Donovan to all Earth defense vessels," he said without greeting. "What you are seeing is not a mistake or a misunderstanding. The Galactic Council has shown its true face today. They murdered our allies because they helped us. They will come for Earth next." The Admiral's voice grew stronger. "For 15 years we prepared for this day. While we smiled at Council meetings, we built ships they know nothing about. While we traded openly, we developed weapons in secret. Earth will not fall like Proxima Station." Alex felt a chill run down his spine. Everyone on the bridge stood straighter, their faces showing both fear and determination. "All vessels will implement Protocol Omega immediately," continued the Admiral. "This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. Earth Defense Fleet will move to preset positions. Civilian evacuation to underground shelters begins now." The Admiral paused. "They think we are weak. They think we are alone. They are wrong." The screen returned to the horrible scene at Proxima Station. For a moment, nobody on the bridge spoke. The only sounds were the soft beeps of the ship's systems and the hum of the engines. Alex turned to face his crew. 20 men and women looked back at him, waiting for his words. Some had served with him for years. Others were fresh from training. All now faced the greatest threat humanity had ever known. "The Arcturians were our friends," Alex said softly. "They helped us when no one else would. They shared their homes and knowledge with us. Today they died because of that friendship." He walked slowly around the bridge, looking each crew member in the eye. "I know you're scared. I am too. The Council has the biggest fleet in the galaxy. They have ruled space for longer than humans, have had electricity." Alex stopped next to the weapons station. "But they made a big mistake today. They showed us who they really are before they were ready to attack Earth. And they have no idea what we can do." Officer Carter looked up. "Sir, the Retribution has never fired its main guns outside of tests." Alex nodded. "And the Council doesn't, even know these guns exist. Our ship looks like a regular transport vessel to their scanners. All 20 Earth warships do." He smiled, but there was no humor in it. "They'll learn the truth soon enough." "Battle stations," Alex ordered. His voice, now firm and clear. "Check all systems twice. Load all weapon bays, and get me a secure line to Earth Command." As the bridge erupted into activity, Alex turned back to the screen. Among the debris floating around Proxima Station, He spotted something the Council ships had missed, a small Arcturian escape pod. Its engines dark, but its life support still functioning. "Lieutenant Ward," he said quietly, "lock onto that pod and prepare for emergency retrieval. We're not leaving survivors behind." Susan's fingers moved quickly across her console. "Yes, sir. Retrieval team standing by." Alex stared hard at the Council warships. In his mind, he could already see them burning. "They wanted a war," he whispered. "Now they'll get one." The stars looked like tiny white dots against the blackness of space. 3 days had passed since the attack. Now, 26 Earth ships gathered at the edge of our solar system. They were the strongest ships humans had ever built, though from the outside they looked like normal cargo vessels. Commander Alex sat in his quarters on the Retribution, looking at a photo of his family. His wife Kate and 7-year-old son Ben smiled back at him from their home in Oregon. He wondered if he would ever see them again. The ship's computer beeped, interrupting his thoughts. "Commander, we're approaching the rally point." Susan's voice came through the speaker. "Admiral Donovan requests all captains join a final briefing in 1 hour." Alex put the photo away. "Thank you, Lieutenant. I'll be on the bridge shortly." As he walked through the ship's corridors, crew members stopped to salute him. Their faces showed a mix of fear and determination. Many had lost friends on Proxima Station. All knew they might not return from this mission. "How's our Arcturian guest?" Alex asked as he entered the bridge. Officer Joe Carter looked up from his station. "Doctor says he'll live, sir. His name is Kalor. Once he woke up, he started sharing information about Council ship weaknesses. Turns out he was part of their military engineering team before becoming an ambassador." Alex nodded. "Good. We need every advantage we can get." The main screen lit up, showing all 26 Earth ships in formation. The largest, the Defiant, sat in the center. From it, Admiral Donovan would lead the attack. "Incoming transmission from Earth Command," Susan announced. The screen changed to show a large underground room carved into the rock beneath Denver. Around a big table sat Earth's leaders. At the head stood President Laura Hayes, a tall woman with short gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. "Commanders," she began, her voice clear and strong. "Today we face the greatest threat in human history. The Galactic Council has shown what they do to those who befriend Earth. Now they plan to finish what they started." She nodded to a man in a general's uniform. "General Torres will explain our intelligence." General Frank Torres stepped forward. His dark skin contrasted with his white hair, the result of 30 years in Earth's defense forces. "The Council thinks we're weak," he said, pointing to a 3D map of nearby star systems. "They've gathered a large fleet here at Vega. Our spies say they plan to attack Earth directly in 5 days. A woman with sharp features and the rank of colonel joined him. "I'm Colonel Olivia Reeves, head of military intelligence. The Council doesn't know we've been watching them for years. They don't know about our new shields or weapons. They believe their attack will be a surprise." Admiral Donovan, his image joining from the Defiance, spoke next. "The Council ships are gathering in one place. This gives us a chance to hit them before they hit us." "What about the survivors from Proxima?" Alex asked. "Any news?" Colonel Reeves's face darkened. "Very few survived, but those who did have given us valuable information. The Council's main ship, the Celestial Hammer, holds their entire leadership. If we can destroy or capture it, we can end this war before it really begins." President Hayes looked at each commander's face on her screen. "I won't lie to you. This mission is dangerous. The Council has more ships and has ruled space for 1,000 years, but they've never faced humans in battle." She stood straighter. "Since the day we first met aliens, we hoped for peace but prepared for war. We built ships with technology the Council doesn't know exists. We trained crews to fight enemies they've never seen. Today we use everything we've learned." The President's eyes seemed to meet Alex's through the screen. "The Council thinks we're defenseless without the Arcturians. They're about to learn how wrong they are." After the briefing ended, Alex sat in his command chair on the bridge of the Retribution. His mind was filled with the details of their mission. His ship would be part of the first attack wave. They would jump directly into the middle of the Council fleet, surprising them completely. It was a bold plan, maybe even a crazy one, but if humans waited, the Council would destroy Earth just like they had destroyed Proxima Station. The door to the bridge opened. A blue-skinned Arcturian limped in, supported by the ship's doctor. Though wounded, his eyes burned with purpose. "Commander Mitchell," the doctor said. "This is Ambassador Kaylor. He insisted on speaking with you before we depart." The Arcturian bowed slightly, wincing from his injuries. "Your people saved me when my own government fell. Now I wish to help save yours." Alex gestured to an empty seat. "We welcome any assistance, Ambassador." "Please, I am no longer an ambassador, just Kaylor now." The Arcturian sat carefully. "I have studied Council warships for many years. I know where they are strongest and where they are weakest." For the next hour, Kaylor shared secrets about Council technology that made Alex's eyes widen. This information wasn't in any of their briefings. With it, their chances improved greatly. When Kaylor finished, Alex called Admiral Donovan to relay the new intelligence. The plan was adjusted, making their bold attack even more likely to succeed. "Status report," Alex called out as the final preparations were made. Susan looked up from her console. "All systems ready, sir. Quantum drives fully charged. Weapon systems online and loaded. Stealth systems working perfectly." "The Council ships won't see us coming until it's too late," added Joe from the weapons station. Alex took a deep breath and looked around at his crew. They had trained for years for this moment. Now it was time. "Send the signal to all ships," he ordered. "We jump in 5 minutes." As the countdown began, Alex thought of Earth, of his family, and of the Arcturians who had died at Proxima. The Council had started this war, but humans would finish it. "Let's make history," he said softly as the quantum drives engaged. The Council war fleet hung in space like a swarm of metal insects. Over 200 ships surrounded the massive flagship, the Celestial Hammer. Inside these ships, alien crews prepared for their attack on Earth. None of them looked at their scanners. Why would they? No enemy knew their location. No enemy could reach them here. They were wrong. Space itself seemed to tear open. Where there was nothing before, 26 Earth ships suddenly appeared. They didn't come from far away. They didn't slowly approach. One moment the space was empty, and the next moment it was filled with human warships. The new quantum drives, based on technology the Arcturians had shared, allowed Earth ships to jump with perfect accuracy. The Council had always believed such precise jumps were impossible. That mistake would cost them dearly. On the bridge of the Retribution, Alex gripped his command chair as the ship exited quantum space. His stomach turned from the jump, but he ignored it. Through the main viewport, he could see a Council heavy cruiser directly ahead. The alien ship was less than 2 kilometers away, its weapons ports closed, its shields down. "Target locked," Joe called from the weapons station, his voice tight with excitement and fear. Alex didn't hesitate. "All batteries fire!" The Retribution shuddered as its weapons discharged. The outer hull plates that had made the ship look like a simple transport vessel slid away, revealing rows of gun ports. Beams of blue energy sliced through space and struck the Council cruiser. The alien ship's hull, designed to withstand known weapons, offered no protection against Earth's technology. "Direct hit," Joe reported, watching his screen as the Council ship broke apart. Their shields never even activated. Around them, other Earth ships struck with the same deadly surprise. Kinetic rounds moving at near light speed tore through Council vessels. Plasma weapons melted alien hulls. Quantum torpedoes, weapons the Council didn't even know existed, exploded in bright flashes, taking down the shields of 3 battleships at once. "Shift to target 2, Alex ordered. "Fire as soon as we have a lock." The Retribution turned smoothly, its engines pushing it toward another Council vessel. This one, a destroyer, had managed to raise its shields after the initial shock. It didn't matter. The Earthship's weapons punched through the energy barrier as if it wasn't there. "How is this possible?" High Counselor Vrax demanded, his scaled skin turning pale with rage and fear. He stood on the command deck of the Celestial Hammer watching, as his fleet was torn apart by what he had dismissed as a primitive species. His tactical officer, a thin alien with 6 limbs, trembled as he studied his instruments. They're weapons. They're unlike anything in our database, and they've appeared inside our formation. Our ships can't maneuver to defend each other. Vrax slammed his fist on a nearby console. Launch all fighters. Target their engines. I want those human ships disabled. Small council fighter craft poured from the larger vessels swarming toward the Earth ships. But they faced another surprise. Point defense systems on the human vessels tracked and destroyed the fighters with cold precision. They're launching fighters, Susan reported on the Retribution's bridge. Hundreds of them. Let the defense grid handle them, Alex replied calmly. Keep our main weapons focused on their capital ships. Outside, the space around Earth vessels lit up with thousands of small energy pulses. The automated defense systems calculated and fired faster than any human or alien could react. Council fighters exploded by the dozens, then by the hundreds. The battle had raged for only 10 minutes, but already the Council fleet was in chaos. They had expected to face a weak enemy. Instead, they faced destruction. Status report, Alex called out, keeping his voice steady despite the excitement rushing through his blood. Shields at 92%, Susan answered. Minor damage to our port side. 2 crew members with light injuries. The Council fleet is breaking formation, Joe added. Several of their ships are trying to run. Alex nodded. Earth's surprise attack had worked better than anyone had dared hope. But the real target remained. What about the celestial hammer? He asked. Joe checked his screen. Still at the center of their formation. They've raised their main shields and are calling for reinforcements. Just as we expected, Alex said. He opened a channel to the other Earth vessels. All ships, this is Commander Mitchell. Phase 1 complete. Begin pattern Sierra. As the Earth vessels regrouped, space tore open again. 12 more human ships appeared, their weapons already firing as they materialized. The Council fleet caught between 2 forces broke apart completely. They're running, Joe reported with a grin. Alex's face remained serious. Let them. Our primary target is the celestial hammer. The Council leadership needs to understand the consequences of their actions. He turned to Susan. Signal Admiral Donovan. Tell him we're moving to Phase 2. The Retribution changed course, its engines pushing it through space at speeds that made the Council tracking systems useless. 2 Council destroyers moved to block its path, only to be reduced to floating debris by the Earth vessel's weapons. On the main screen, Alex could see the celestial hammer growing larger. The Council flagship was truly massive, at least 5 times the size of any Earth vessel. Its hull glittered with energy weapons and its shields shimmered with power. They've detected our approach, Susan warned. They're bringing all weapons to bear on us. Alex felt sweat on his forehead but kept his voice calm. Evasive pattern Delta. All ships coordinate your fire on their main shield generators. The Earth vessels moved in perfect formation, each one adjusting its course in ways the Council gunners couldn't predict. Some of the alien weapons found their targets, shaking the human ships with powerful blows. But most missed, and the Earth fleet closed in. We have weapons lock on their shield generators, Joe announced, his finger hovering over the firing control. Alex took a deep breath. This was the moment that would decide the battle, perhaps the war itself. Fire everything. The combined firepower of 15 Earth warships struck the celestial hammer at precisely the same moment. The Council flagship's shields flared bright blue, then collapsed in a shower of energy. Quantum torpedoes slammed into the now exposed hull, tearing huge holes in the alien vessel. Direct hits, Joe shouted. Their main shields are down. A cheer went up from the bridge crew, but Alex silenced them with a raised hand. Stay focused, it's not over yet. He was right. As the smoke cleared, the celestial hammer remained largely intact, secondary shields flickering to life around it. The Council flagship began to move away, trailing debris but still dangerous. They're tougher than we thought, Susan said softly. Alex nodded. Yes, but now they know we are too. Smoke filled the bridge of the Retribution. A console sparked in the corner and the emergency lights cast everything in a red glow. The attack on the celestial hammer had not gone as planned. Though damaged, The Council flagship had survived the combined firepower of Earth's vessels. "Damage report," Alex called out, wiping blood from a cut on his forehead. Susan tapped on her screen, which flickered with static. "Shields at 42%. Engines operating at 75% capacity. We have fires on decks 3 and 5, but the teams are containing them." Alex looked at the main display. 3 Earth ships had been destroyed in the attack. 7 more showed serious damage, but they had hurt the Council fleet badly too. Over 30 enemy vessels floated as lifeless wrecks. Dozens more limped away, trailing debris and atmosphere. "The Celestial Hammer is moving out of range," Joe reported from his damaged weapons station. "They're calling all remaining ships to protect them," Alex nodded grimly. "They're tougher than our intelligence suggested." He opened a channel to Admiral Donovan on the Defiance. "Admiral, the primary target is withdrawing. Should we pursue?" Admiral Donovan's face appeared on the screen. Unlike Alex's bridge, the Admiral's command center looked untouched by battle. "Negative, Commander. Fall back to Rally Point Echo. We've accomplished Phase 2. Alex frowned but didn't question the order. "Yes, sir. Withdrawing now." As the Earth ships disengaged from battle, the Council forces made no attempt to follow. They had been hurt too badly to risk further fighting. On the bridge of the Celestial Hammer, High Counselor Vrax called an emergency meeting of the War Cabinet. His once magnificent command center now lay in ruins. Support beams had collapsed, and half the control stations were dark. Medical teams moved among the injured, while repair crews fought to restore key systems. "How did this happen?" demanded Counselor Mex, her crystalline body reflecting the emergency lights. "How did a primitive species nearly destroy our flagship?" Vrax's scales had lost their healthy green color. Now they looked pale and gray. They were preparing for this for years. Their technology, their tactics, they knew exactly where to strike. "We should never have moved against their allies," Mex said, her voice sharp with accusation. "The humans were content to remain in their system. We provoked this." "It's too late for blame," Vrax snapped. "We must respond with overwhelming force. Activate the Nexus Protocol. Call in every available ship from all Council worlds." His tactical officer looked up with alarm. "High Counselor, that will leave many of our worlds undefended." "Better undefended than lost entirely," Vrax replied. "The humans have proven more dangerous than we ever imagined. We must crush them now, before they grow stronger." Back on Earth, President Hayes received the update from the front lines in the underground command center. The screens around her showed the battle data, casualty reports, and status of the fleet. "The initial strike succeeded, but at a cost," Admiral Donovan reported. "The Council flagship survived. They're regrouping and calling in reinforcements." President Hayes nodded, her face serious but calm. "We expected this would be a long fight. Are they taking the bait?" General Torres pointed to the holographic display of the galaxy. "Yes, Madam President. The Council is pulling ships from these sectors." His finger traced a path across several star systems. "They're leaving their core, worlds with minimal defenses. Just as we planned," the President said. "Admiral, is Commander Mitchell's battle group ready for the next phase?" Admiral Donovan smiled slightly. "They're already on their way." In deep space, the Retribution and its sister ships made emergency repairs as they traveled. Crew members worked around the clock to fix damaged systems and prepare for the next battle. In his quarters, Alex studied the new orders from Earth Command. The battle near Vega had been just the first step in a much larger plan. While the main fleet engaged the Council forces, drawing their attention and their ships, smaller groups would strike elsewhere. A knock on his door interrupted his thoughts. Susan entered, looking tired but determined. "The repairs will be finished in 6 hours," she reported. "The crew is asking questions about our next move." Alex gestured to the chair across from him. "Sit down, Susan. What I'm about to tell you is known only to ship captains and first officers." When she was seated, he continued. "The attack on the way, Celestial Hammer wasn't meant to destroy it. It was meant to make the Council angry enough to call in ships from across their territory." Susan's eyes widened as understanding dawned. A diversion. Alex nodded. While we keep their main fleet busy, Special Forces teams are infiltrating the Council's homeworlds. Their defenses have never been so thin. What are these teams looking for? Information, Alex replied. The Council has ruled through fear and secrets for 1,000 years. We believe they've hidden the truth about their actions from their own people. If we can find proof of their crimes and share it with the galaxy, Susan finished his thought. We won't need to defeat their ships. Their empire will collapse from within. Exactly. The ship's intercom buzzed. Commander, Joe's voice came through. We're picking up Council communications. Their reinforcements are arriving sooner than expected. At least 300 ships. Alex stood quickly. I'll be right there. As they hurried to the bridge, Susan looked worried. 300 ships? We can't fight that many. We don't need to win, Alex reminded her. We just need to keep their attention for a little longer. When they reached the bridge, the main screen showed a massive gathering of Council vessels. Ships of all sizes moved into attack formation, preparing to overwhelm the human fleet. Status of our Special Forces teams? Alex asked quietly. Joe checked a secure channel on his console. Still in position. They need 12 more hours. Alex took his command chair and looked at his crew. They were tired and scared, but their eyes showed trust in him. Send a message to all Earth ships, he ordered. We're implementing Omega Protocol. Full defensive posture. As the crew rushed to obey, Alex stared at the approaching Council armada. The next few hours would determine the fate of humanity, not through overwhelming firepower, but through a gamble that truth could be more powerful than any weapon. They think this is the final battle, he said softly. They're wrong. 1 month passed since the first battle. Earth's ships had been fighting a smart war, hitting Council forces and then running before they could strike back. The Council, with its larger fleet, grew frustrated. They couldn't catch the human vessels that seemed to appear and disappear like ghosts. Alex sat in his quarters on the Retribution, his uniform wrinkled from days without rest. The ship had been through 12 battles in the past month. Each time they had escaped with damage but survived. Not all Earth ships had been so lucky. Of the original 26 vessels, only 19 remained. A soft beep from his computer interrupted his thoughts. Commander? Susan's voice came through. It's time. Alex straightened his uniform and headed to the bridge. The crew stood at attention as he entered, their faces showing both exhaustion and hope. They had been fighting this holding action for weeks, keeping the Council fleet occupied, while Earth Special Forces carried out their secret mission. Message from Earth Command, Joe announced. They're ready to begin Operation Truth. Alex nodded. Put it on the main screen. The display lit up to show President Hayes in the Denver Command Center. Commander Mitchell, your battle group has performed magnificently. Thanks to your efforts, our teams were able to complete their mission. We're ready for the final phase. What did they find? Alex asked. The President smiled. Everything we hoped for and more. The Council has been hiding the truth from their own people for centuries. We have proof of 27 other civilizations they destroyed. We have their internal communications about the Arcturian massacre, showing it was planned long ago. We even found evidence that many Council member species don't know what their government has been doing. What's the plan? Alex asked. We're going to tell everyone, President Hayes replied. In 1 hour we will broadcast this information on every communication channel in the galaxy. But we need your fleet to keep the Council ships busy so they can't stop the transmission. Alex turned to his crew. You heard the President. 1 more fight. The most important one yet. He opened a channel to all remaining Earth ships. All vessels, this is Commander Mitchell. Form up on the Retribution. We're making one final push. The Earth fleet gathered near a small moon, hidden from Council sensors. For the past month, they had avoided direct confrontation. Now they would seek it out. As they prepared for battle, Alex spoke privately with Susan and Joe on the bridge. Whatever happens today, he said quietly, I want you to know I couldn't have asked for a better crew. Susan smiled. It's been an honor, sir. Joe nodded. We'll make it count. The fleet jumped into quantum space, appearing directly in front of the main Council armada. The surprise was complete. Before the alien vessels could react, Earth ships launched a full attack, focusing all firepower on the celestial hammer. On the Council flagship, High Counselor Vrax watched in disbelief as the human fleet, which had been running for weeks, suddenly attacked head-on. "What are they doing?" he demanded. "This is suicide." His tactical officer had no answer, but a communications specialist rushed onto the bridge. "High Counselor, we're detecting massive data transmissions across all frequencies. Something is being broadcast throughout Council space." "Block it," Vrax ordered, his scales turning nearly white with fear. "We can't," the specialist replied. "It's coming from too many sources and, sir, our own people are spreading it now." Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds and ships, beings of all species received the transmission. They saw video proof of the Council's massacre of the Arcturians. They read classified documents showing the Council's plans to destroy any species that threatened their power. They learned the true history of their government, how it had quietly eliminated 27 other civilizations over the centuries. The reaction was immediate and violent. Council member species that had been kept in the dark rose up against their leaders. Military vessels found themselves facing mutinies as crews realized they had been serving evil masters. Vrax watched, helplessly, as reports flooded in from across Council space. Member worlds were declaring independence. Council officials were being arrested by their own security forces. Military vessels were powering down their weapons or turning them against Council loyalists. "How did they access these records?" Vrax whispered, his voice shaking. "This data was stored in isolated systems." The answer came as every screen on the bridge suddenly showed Commander Alex Mitchell's face. "Your isolated systems weren't as secure as you thought, Counselor," Alex said, his voice calm but firm. "While our warships kept your fleet busy, our cyber warfare teams were taking apart your empire from within." The Celestial Hammer, once the most feared ship in the galaxy, was now surrounded by vessels from a dozen different species. Former Council warships trained their weapons on their flagship. "Surrender your leadership for trial," Alex continued, "or face the combined might of not just humanity, but every species you've betrayed and oppressed." Vrax looked around his bridge. His officers stood with heads bowed, knowing they had lost. With shaking hands, he opened a channel to reply. "We surrender." 1 week later, President Hayes addressed the citizens of Earth from the same underground command center where the war had begun. "Today marks a new chapter in galactic history," she said, her voice steady and proud. "The Council's rule of fear is over. In its place, we propose a true federation of equals, where no single species or group can ever again hold such power over others." On the bridge of the Retribution, Alex watched as Council officials were led off the Celestial Hammer in restraints. Susan joined him by the viewport. "Was it worth it?" she asked softly. "All the lives we lost?" Alex thought of the Arcturians who had been massacred, the event that had started this war. He thought of the Earth ships destroyed, the brave men and women who had died fighting. And he thought of the 27 other species who had been wiped out because no one had stood against the Council sooner. "We didn't start this war, Susan," he replied. "But we made sure it's the last one the Council will ever wage." As Earth's ships began their journey home, the stars seemed brighter somehow. The galaxy was a different place now. Humanity had proven itself not just a powerful military force, but a champion for justice in a universe that desperately needed it. The Galactic Council had massacred Earth's allies, believing humans to be weak and unprepared. Earth's warships had proven them wrong.